Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Awesome. So today we're tackling web scraping and APIs.
Two very powerful tools.
Yeah. If you want to get information from the web, you got to know this
It's
stuff.
like if you're going on a quest for data.
Exactly. And you need to choose your weapon.
Right. Do you want to go in like a ninja with web scraping?
Ooh, sneaky.
Or do you take the official route?
So APIs are the official way.
Yeah, it's like the formal invitation.
Gotcha. I'm intrigued. Where do we even start with all this?
Well, we have a fantastic guide from Rebrowser.
Oh yeah, they're the experts.
They really know data extraction inside and out.
Perfect. So let's jump right in.
Let's do it.
Web scraping first. What is that all about? It sounds kind of sketchy.
Haha, yeah, the name doesn't really help.
Right.
Okay, so imagine this. You have a super fast digital assistant.
Okay.
And it can go through websites like super fast
Okay.
and pull out specific data points that you need.
Wow.
That's basically what web scraping is.
So like a little data detective. That's pretty handy.
It is. And it can even handle tricky situations,
Oh, like what?
like websites that require you to log in
Oh, right. That makes sense.
or websites that are constantly updating.
Yeah, that would be hard to keep up with manually.
For sure.
But hold on. Is all of this even legal?
That's the tricky part. It's a bit of a gray area.
Oh, no. So we could get in trouble.
It depends.
Yeah.
You absolutely have to check each website's terms of service
Okay.
before you start scraping anything.
Got it. So read the fine print.
Yes, some sites specifically forbid it.
And what if you scrape anyway?
You could face legal consequences.
Yikes.
But if you're using it for research or personal projects and you're respecting the site's rules,
Yeah.
then it's generally okay.
Okay, so proceed with caution.
Exactly.
Now, Browser mentioned something called Beautiful Soup.
Ah.
What in the world is that?
So Beautiful Soup is a Python library
Okay.
that basically makes web scraping way easier.
Oh, so it's like a tool that helps you scrape it.
Yeah, think of it like a toolkit for websites.
A toolkit.
Yeah, you use it to dissect a website's structure,
Oh.
and then you can pull out the exact data that you need.
Okay, so it's like a super precise tool.
Right. It's like having X-ray vision for the web.
Huh. I like
Yeah.
that. So you can see right through it.
Exactly. You can pinpoint specific things,
Like what kind of things?
like product prices, reviews, news headlines, anything.
Wow. And you can just grab all that
Yep, and put it into a nice, neat format.
so you can actually use it.
Exactly.
This is starting to sound pretty powerful.
Oh, it is, but
Oh, there's a but.
there's always a but.
Right. So what's the catch?
Well, web scraping can be a bit of a hassle.
To set up.
Yeah, to set up and also to maintain.
Okay, why is that?
Because websites, they change all the time.
Oh, right. They're constantly updating.
Exactly. And when they change their layout or their code,
Yeah.
your scraping tools, they might break.
Uh-oh.
And then you have to fix them.
So it's not just a one-time thing.
No, you need to keep things updated.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It can be. Yeah, especially if you're not careful.
Okay, I see. And what about those CAP-TCHAs?
Oh, yeah. Don't get me started on CAP-TCHAs.
Uh-huh. I hate those.
They're designed to stop bots.
But they're so annoying for humans.
I know, right? And they can really mess up your web scraping.
So it's not a foolproof method.
Definitely not.
Okay, so web scraping sounds powerful, but maybe a bit high maintenance.
That's a good way to put it.
All right, so what about APIs then?
Ah, yes, the official route.
Right, you mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
So what makes them so official?
Okay, so APIs are like a pre-approved pathway.
To the data.
Exactly. Think of it like you're sending a formal request,
Okay.
but you're going through the front door.
So it's not sneaky like web scraping.
Not at all. It's
Yeah.
much more structured.
And reliable.
Yes, because the website is giving you the data directly.
So you're not like hacking in or anything.
Oh, it's all above board.
So you're basically saying APIs are the safer option.
Much safer.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
But you did say they can be limited in the data they offer.
Ah, good point. You're right. They're designed to provide specific data points.
So you're stuck with what they give you.
Yeah, you can't just grab anything you want.
So even though it's official, you might not get everything you need.
Exactly.
Okay, so trade-offs with both approaches.
Always trade-offs.
This is feeling like a choose-your-fighter situation.
You got it. Each one has its strengths and weaknesses.
Right. So you got to pick the right tool for the job.
And just like different fighters have different fighting styles,
Yeah.
APIs have different languages for talking to each other.
Oh, really? Like what?
Two of the most common are REST and GraphQL.
Okay, I've heard of those.
They're like different dialects for data requests.
Interesting. So it's not as simple as just picking API or web scraping?
Nope. You got to get into the specifics.
All right, well, this is already a lot to process.
I know, right? But we're just getting started.
So if I'm understanding this correctly,
Mm.
if you need to be quick and flexible, web scraping might be the way to go.
Could be.
But if you want something reliable and consistent, APIs are probably better.
Sounds about right.
But I'm guessing it's not always that clear cut.
You're catching on. There are definitely some gray areas.
Oh boy. So how do we figure out which one is best for a specific situation?
Well, let's break it down. Let's do a head-to-head comparison.
Oh, I like that. A good old-fashioned showdown.
Exactly. We'll see which one comes out on top.
Okay, what are the main categories we should compare?
Let's see. Data access, reliability, setup complexity, maintenance,
Okay, those are important.
then cost structure and data quality.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
All right, so data access first. With web scraping, you can basically grab anything you want.
Really? Anything.
Well, anything that's publicly available on the website.
So like it's a free-for-all.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But with APIs,
Yeah.
you're limited to what the provider gives you.
Ah, so it's like a curated collection.
Exactly. You only get what's on the menu.
So if you need something super specific, web scraping is more flexible.
Definitely. But that flexibility comes with a price.
Oh, what's the catch?
Reliability web scraping can be really unreliable
How come?
because websites change all the time.
Oh, right. We talked about that.
Yeah, and when they change, your scrapers might break.
And then you have to fix them.
Exactly. It can be a real headache.
Whereas APIs, they're more stable
Much more stable.
because they have that agreement.
Right. Between the provider and the user.
So less chance of things suddenly breaking.
Exactly.
That makes sense, especially if you need the data to be up to date.
Yeah, like if you're building an app or something.
Right. Okay, so what about setup? How hard is it to get started with each one?
Well, web scraping can be pretty complex.
Oh, no.
You need to understand how websites are structured,
Okay.
and then you have to write code to extract the data.
Oh, so you need to know how to code.
Yeah, it helps.
What about APIs?
They're generally easier to integrate. They usually have good documentation and code libraries.
So it's more user-friendly.
You could say that.
All right, but we talked about websites changing all the time.
Right.
What does that mean for maintenance?
Ah, good point. Web scraping, it's like gardening.
Gardening.
Yeah, you have to constantly tend to your tools.
To keep them working.
Exactly. Whenever a website updates, you might have to tweak your code.
Oh, so it's not a set it and forget it thing?
Definitely not.
APIs are less work then.
Way less. As long as the provider keeps their end of the deal.
You shouldn't have too many problems.
Right.
Okay, so APIs sound a lot more efficient,
Time-wise, for sure.
but time is money, as they say.
True. So let's talk about cost.
I have it. Hit me with it.
Well, web scraping can be pretty cheap.
Really?
Yeah, if you do it yourself.
Okay.
You just need to cover your infrastructure costs and any tools you use.
But if you're not a coder, you might need to hire someone,
Or use a paid service.
which could get expensive.
For sure. APIs, on the other hand, they usually have usage-based pricing.
Yim.
You pay for how much data you use.
Okay, so it depends on your needs.
Exactly.
So with web scraping, you might have higher upfront costs.
Potentially?
But with APIs, it depends on how much you use.
Right. Ah, interesting. Okay, last one. Data quality.
Ah, yes. Very important.
So with web scraping, the quality can be all over the place.
It depends on your scraping tools.
And the website itself.
Exactly. You might end up with messy data.
That needs to be cleaned.
Exactly.
Sure.
APIs usually give you clean data.
Oh, so it's ready to go.
Exactly.
So APIs are like the pre-washed and chopped salad,
Uh-huh. I like that.
while web scraping is the whole head of lettuce.
You got to do all the prep work.
Exactly. All right, so looking at all of this,
Yeah.
there's no clear winner.
It depends on what you need.
Right. If you need flexibility, web scraping might be better.
Maybe.
But if you need stability, APIs are the way to go.
Probably.
But I'm sure there are times when it's not so simple.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like, what if you need both? Ah, great question.
What them?
Well, Rebrowser actually has a case study about this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a startup called Tech Market Analytics.
Interesting. What were they trying to do?
So they were trying to track product prices.
Across different websites.
Yeah, a whole bunch of e-commerce sites.
Wow, that's a lot of data.
It was. They wanted to offer real-time price comparisons.
Oh, so like a super shopping assistant.
Exactly. Help people find the best deals.
Sounds pretty useful.
It was a great idea.
So did they go with web scraping or APIs?
Well, at first they tried web scraping.
Makes sense. Got to get the data somehow.
Right. But they ran into some problems.
Oh, no. What happened?
It was just too much to handle.
Like the maintenance.
Yeah. Every time a website changed, their scrapers would break.
And they'd have to fix them.
Exactly. And it was costing them a ton of money.
To keep up with all the changes.
Yeah, it was a nightmare.
So what do they do?
They had to come up with a new plan.
Okay.
Started using APIs for the bigger websites.
The ones that had APIs available.
Right. And they kept web scraping for the smaller sites.
The ones without APIs.
Exactly. So they had a hybrid system.
Oh, that's smart. Get the best of both worlds.
It was. And it worked really well.
It did.
Yeah, their costs went down.
That's good.
And the data became much more reliable.
Even better.
They were finally able to focus on their business.
Instead of fixing scrapers all day.
Exactly.
That's a great story. It shows how important it is to be flexible.
To adapt to the situation.
Exactly. You got to use the right tools for the job.
Couldn't agree more.
This has been a really eye-opening deep dive.
I'm glad you think so.
We've covered so much ground.
From the basics to the future of data collection.
It's amazing how much there is to learn.
And it's always changing.
Yeah. What do you think about AI-powered web scraping?
Oh, that's a game changer for sure.
It sounds like it could solve a lot of the problems with web scraping.
Imagine scrapers that can learn and adapt.
Wow. That would be incredible.
No more manual updates.
And they could handle those gotcha CHAs.
Exactly. It's pretty exciting stuff.
It is. Any other trends we should be watching out for?
Well, Rebrowser also talks about API standardization.
What does that mean?
So basically, APIs would start speaking the same language.
Oh, that would make things so much easier.
It would. Developers would be thrilled.
No more trying to make different APIs work together.
Exactly. It would open up a world of possibilities.
And what about those specialized web scraping API services?
Those are pretty cool, too.
They basically do all the web scraping for you.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
just get the data through an API.
So you don't need to be an expert.
Exactly. It makes data accessible to everyone.
That's awesome. Well, this has been an incredible deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
I've learned so much about web scraping and APIs.
I'm glad to hear that.
Any final thoughts for our listeners?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest takeaway is that data is everywhere.
And it's valuable,
Exactly. So learn how to access it.
whether it's through web scraping, APIs, or both.
It's a powerful skill to have.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again for joining us on this journey.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the world of data.